The Mavericks go into the All-Star break with some really good momentum after getting the win tonight over the Miami Heat. We'll break it all down coming up next on the Dallas Mavericks postgame show. Here we go. Hey, what's up, Dlls Mavs Nation? It's your man, Kevin Gray, alongside Mavericks analyst Bobby Kel'el. We are Dlls Mavs, your favorite guys covering your favorite team every single game night. Really appreciate you joining us here on DLS Sports as the Mavericks get the 118-113 win over the Miami Heat for their second straight win, now having won 4 out of their last 5 games as they go into the All-Star break. Dante Exum with a huge night tonight. 27 points for the Dallas Mavericks, leading 7 guys in double figures. The Mavericks now move to 4-0 all-time when Dante Exum scores at least 20 points in a game. Kessler Edwards, 15 points. Max Christie with 19 points as well, as the Mavericks use a big fourth quarter to get it done, and they now finish the pre-All-Star break schedule 4 games above 500 at 30-26. We'll break it all down coming up here over the next hour plus as we celebrate finally getting to the All-Star break, damn it.
Let's go!
And the Mavericks do so in a big way with a win. They are 30-26 on the season, now 17-11 at the American Airlines Center. Let us know how you're feeling in the chat as well. We'll be joined by our Mavericks beat writer Tim Cato, our National NBA insider Marc Stein as well throughout the course of the show, as Bobby has popped the bubbly on the show as we celebrate what is the All-Star break finally, Bobby, but also a big win for the Dallas Mavericks.
Yes, normally you pop fizzy stuff whenever it's like we just won the championship. Nope, this year the Mavs made it to the All-Star break, folks. They did it. They did it, but also they've won 4 out of their last 5. I mean, it really feels kind of like good times all around. You know, this has been, I don't need to rehash the entire last 3 weeks of our lives or anything, but this has been a pretty trying period for the fellas and for all of us as we've seen it unfold, as we followed every dribble, all the stuff happening on the court and all of the stuff happening off the court. And, you know, now that they've finally, they've reached a point where they can kind of kick their feet up and relax a little bit, it must feel great for them. I know it feels great for me, but also, did they win out with a win? Win out with the win, and not just 1, 4 out of the last 5. Like they're playing great. They're playing great. Tanner, I'm bringing this to you.
They're a goofy DeMar DeRozan game away from having won 4 straight. It is chaos on the set. I love
Everyone
it.
say what's
Look
up
at
to Tanner.
FaceTime for Tanner. Get
there
yourself
you
the
go.
camera. There's FaceTime for Tanner. Make sure you raise your glass, celebrate, toast to a friend.
Responsibly.
Or
cheers.
Cheers. Exactly. Let me get my glass ready. Bam, with our red Solo cups. No promotion. Just red cups.
Unbranded.
That's unbranded. That's all completely unbranded as well. But let us know how you're feeling. Miles says, are the vibes back? Kind of.
Oh, it's so back.
Oh, they're all the way
the
back?
vibes are so back.
They're
dude.
so
Come
back.
on. Look. There are so many reasons for fans to be upset about what's been going on.
For
you
sure.
know? Not only with the trade that a lot of people are still really upset about the fact that they traded Luka Doncic, but also with the organization's response, also with everything that's gone on. But dude, if you can't appreciate it's Kessler Edwards and Brandon Williams out there and Max Christie, Dante Exum scored 27 points tonight. They haven't had a center in a week, and they're winning all these games right now. If you can't relate to that and cheer for that and get fired up about that, then it's just, I know the Luka thing is bigger than basketball, but this is also bigger than basketball too. Those guys are dying out there. They're doing everything they possibly can to get a win. It's really, really inspiring stuff, man. It's really inspiring, and I'm just, I'm happy for them, but also I'm happy for me because The last 2 days, you've been around me. I'm like a sad puppy.
Yeah.
Like, I don't want to watch this crap.
Yeah.
And then the game starts, and I'm like, oh my God, this, like, they're fighting. They're fighting, and it's awesome.
Puppies love watching crap.
Hello, Tim Cato.
Tim Cato joining
What an
us.
intro.
Here on the show. Yeah, I feel like Bobby's been broken the last couple of days.
Honestly, you guys tried to silence me on the pregame show, so I just show up in person just to make sure that this wouldn't happen again.
Well, we appreciate your efforts in walking over from the over.
Honestly, I got to pack a little bit. I got to get home. I think I'm here till the halfway point ish. Yeah,
he's like this. Like, I'm not gonna be here for a long time, but I'm here for a good time.
But you know what? I was happy to come join you guys in person. It's been too long since I've seen y'all.
Well,
I'll see y'all in the morning, but.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's true. I'm about to say you won't. Yeah, we got a show tomorrow as well, so we'll probably see you tomorrow.
Yes, 32 has a great comment. They say if Inside in the NBA had a who we play for all-star team, it would have been the Mavs roster tonight, and that's exactly true. This is their starting five: Max Christie, Omax Prosper, Kessler Edwards, Spencer Dinwiddie, Dante Exum. Off the bench, Brandon Williams played almost 25 minutes. Najee played 32 and a half, and we love Najee around here. Jaden Hardy gave him 18. Kyler Kelly played 2 minutes. That's your Mavs team. They had 9 players available tonight, and they beat a team that had an all-star.
I'm going to say 8 players they had available tonight.
Oof.
Yeah, because you know exactly what I'm talking about.
I don't know.
Well, I mean, if we're playing that game, they had 7 players.
Oh, there you go. Okay, cool. They had 7.
I don't even know which one. You could be referring to either one of them. I'm assuming.
Who am I referring to?
I don't even want to say his name.
Oh, you don't want to say his name?
The vibes are high. We're not putting anybody down.
Dude, Dante Exum is back. That's what I am getting from this, and I absolutely all 7 double-digit scorers deserve praise and flowers in their own different ways for tonight's game. But oh my God, this team missed Dante Exum. I asked Jason Kidd about that. He said they have missed him since the first day of training camp.
Yeah,
that's not an exaggeration. So much of the feelings about this season, I think, would be drastically different if Dante Exum had been available this whole time. What a player. What a very good player. He's still on a minutes restriction, mind you, which I guess you could intuit from how much he's playing. He's obviously trusted. He was balling out today, and he finished with 25-ish minutes?
27 points in... Oh, my God. 24 minutes. Wow.
Yeah, 24 minutes.
Dude, awesome.
So, yeah, still on a minute restriction. Which, makes sense, but it's the first time I've heard Jason Kidd actually say that. And he's balling out there, Like I think it was the last layup he hit or second to last where Davion Mitchell, who was like the only guy on the Heat who could play defense, hounded him the entire time. And it took drive this way, stop, decel, go back the other way, go, and just finally wrapped his way around and finally got a little scoop layup to go. He is he's not a traditional shot creator, but what he can do with the ball in his hands and just the comfort. To me, the next level of on-ball creator is a guy who doesn't just, go and get a layup on a straight line drive, or maybe even has a move in the middle. It's the guy who can drive into the paint, keep his dribble alive, dribble back out, and still have an understanding of where the court is and how to get an advantage from that. Dante Exum does that. He's the only other player on the roster not named Kyrie Irving who I consistently trust to get in, break down the defense, get into the paint, and then just figure out, okay, well, it's not here. Well, let's try again, and I still got the ball in my hands. I'm not worried. Nobody's behind me because I have such, awareness that it's not going to go get poked out. He's a really, really nice player and hitting the threes too.
Kessler Edwards tonight also had a big game for this Dallas Mavericks team, knocking down a few threes in this game. I had jokingly said throughout the course of the game that it felt like Kessler Edwards was afraid to shoot 3-pointers. He proved me very wrong tonight, knocking down a few threes in some big moments. And also, again, Max Christie, who was mic'd up tonight on the broadcast for tonight's game, he had 19 points. He continues to excel in his role with this team, playing very comfortably with the Dallas Mavericks and finding himself playing well on both ends of the floor, but not afraid of the moment. Give this team a lot of credit. We talked about it last night during the postgame show, how well that this team is fighting with resiliency and how Jason Kidd has this team prepared to play 9 in and 9 out against severely shorthanded tonight with no Klay Thompson, no Kyrie Irving as well. This team's grit and toughness, any of the buzzwords that you want to assign to this team, They're finding ways to win, and good for them to be able to get themselves a win going into the All-Star break with some momentum as they get ready for the second or the post All-Star break push, I should say. And they were able to get it done with a win tonight. But a lot of guys contributed to this win, and that's why our title card is team win tonight, because it was collectively a real team win for this team.
Yeah, we do need to have a pretty serious conversation, though. I don't know if Max Christie is trying to grow a mustache right now. I don't know. I think the clean-shaven look is better for him, but I'm curious to see. Maybe he lets it ride for the entire All-Star break, and he comes back with something a little more substantial. But
did you have one at 22? You probably did.
Oh, yeah, I did, yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
It took me till about, it was over the pandemic. So I would have been 25, 26.
Oh, wow, okay.
Yeah, that's when the facial hair, like,
I mean, you got to let it grow
like
before
wispy, like, oh, how cute, he's grown it out. You haven't shaved in a while, and then it is actually something that I'm like, okay, real facial hair now.
We have some breaking news when it comes to the Dallas Mavericks.
You realize we were trying to have fun.
Well, we gotta report the news as it happens. This coming from Shams Charania as of less than a minute ago. Dallas Mavericks center Daniel Gafford has sustained a grade 3 right MCL sprain and will miss at least 6 weeks. Sources tell him and ESPN's Tim McMahon.
All right.
That means Gafford, Anthony Davis, Derek Lively now expected to be out significant stretches of the second half of the season.
He's done for the year. 6 weeks from now is the end of March. You're not coming back from that. I mean, maybe game one. Maybe the play-in, maybe game 81 or 82 or something. Like, no, he's done.
So,
wow.
I was going to save this and talk about this tomorrow's show, but basically, my view of the Dallas Mavericks season is it literally only depends on whether Anthony Davis comes back or not.
I'm right there with you.
If he
in a lot of
doesn't,
ways.
it doesn't really matter. So here's my perspective. I wrote about Anthony Davis for a while today, like almost 2,000 words. And I know that, we're not in a pessimist. We were trying to be in a more optimistic mood
We're
right
drinking Prosecco right now.
Yeah, we're trying to be.
We might need to drink it for another reason at this point based off
But-
what we just got in terms of the news, I guess.
Over the weekend, when things did feel way more pessimistic all around the team, a lot of people theorized or had a conspiracy theory, and not a ridiculous one at all, that Dallas is just not going to announce that Anthony Davis this season, has a season-ending injury. So as I've looked into the injury and talked to Jeff Stotts, our favorite injury guy, which is a funny thing to say, but the best source of injury news out there. So
In street clothes.
Mm-hmm. If he has a grade 3 adductor strain with a D, not a B, he would have to have surgery. But I would be very surprised if he has already had surgery and it's just not announced. Like, you can hold on to some injury news. It's pretty difficult in the NBA for a team to completely not reveal the fact that somebody had surgery. That's a weird thing to happen. So to me, it's pretty clear that Anthony Davis is operating like it's a grade 2 strain, and a grade 2 usually costs you about 35 days. Which a significant chunk of time. Anthony Davis might not be back. If it's about 35 days, if it's the grade 2, if he successfully rehabs from it, that would be about like March 15th or so. It's a ways off, but it means he's back this season. Here's the thing. If he had surgery right now, he's probably out for the year. The season's probably over. There's no harm for the Mavericks and Anthony Davis to approach this like they can rehab it without surgery, right? There's literally, it makes no difference at this point, unless they're 100% sure. They're 100% sure he would go get the surgery and then move on. If there is any nebulous nature where this could become something that just has to have surgery, but there's also, it could be something where he rehabs it, there's no harm in going that approach. So I don't think we know. We don't know. We do not know how likely it is to go in one way or the other. And maybe there's certain that he's going to be rehab it and be fine by the time, you get to March. But when it comes to they're holding off, they're just not announcing it yet. I think there's a scenario. It's very much up in the air. And, even if it's potentially something in another context he would have surgery on, because he wouldn't be back this season. And, as long as they think there's a chance that he can get back, here in 5 or 6 weeks, then you might as well try it out.
Oh, boy.
So I think that's really because this roster is good enough. This roster, as long as Anthony Davis is back, if he's coming back right when the first round starts, I think at this point he wouldn't be.
Sure.
Either he's coming back in a few weeks at some point in March, or he's out for the year. Like that, those are the two options. And you need him back. You got to get him back in March to have a team that you feel comfortable going into the postseason, and you feel comfortable that you're not going to be, like the 10th seed in the play-in tournament. But I think this roster is very clearly good enough to go get about, at this point, I think they can go get 45 wins if Anthony Davis is coming back. And I did all the math in this column and the story that I wrote. Rough math, it's incomplete.
Let's take our first break here.
That's kind of where I land on all that. Sorry, I just
you
hadn't quite finished.
My bad.
You know how like we all know this. Like you have to end on the vocal pattern that's like conclusionary. And that's like
we do have to go to break though.
Yeah, we can go now.
Let's take our first break here on the Dallas Mavs postgame show. More on this conversation as well, and plus the win tonight for the Dallas Mavericks as they head into the All-Star break with some winning momentum. All that and more coming up next here on the Dallas Mavs postgame show. But first, I've got the perfect gift for you as the passionate sports fan and the passionate sports fan in your life as well. Perhaps you've heard of Ice Shaker. Ice Shaker is now officially licensed with the NFL, NHL, NBA, NCAA, and MLB as well, and will make the ideal gift. Created and used by the Gronkowski brothers, Ice Shakers have sold over 1 million bottles. They've changed the game with their workout bottles, and this bottle you've been looking for is now available to you at iceshaker.com. Use code ALLCITY25 at checkout to save 25% on your order. Customizable, you can send their logo as well, and check out our custom shop to customize your favorite bottle. The turnaround time on the custom bottle is 3 to 5 business days. It got the perfect agitator as well. It works as a strainer for your bottle when you're shaking up your drinks to be able to get yourself ready for your workouts. Order your team-branded bottles today at iceshaker.com and use the code ALLCITY25 for 25% off your order. Ice Shakers show your support for your teams with the best branded workout bottles in the market with Ice Shakers.
Well, my sleeper pick is a winner chicken dinner on your favorite fantasy app, but there's more than just fantasy leagues on Sleeper. You can put your ball knowledge to the test by picking whether your favorite or least favorite players will have more or less than their projected stats each and every night. Tonight, I was a winner. Tyler Hero easily got to 30 points plus rebounds plus assists. Max Christie got more than 16.5 points, and Alec Burks, the all-time Mavs sniper, or anti-Mavs sniper, I guess, made 2 threes, which means my $5 play netted me $13.60 in pure sweet profit, and it's going to be back in my account within minutes. Sleeper, it's very easy. You deposit your money right away. You can play. You win. You can withdraw it right away if you want it, or you can just keep playing. And if you want to download the app today, use promo code DLLSMAVS. You play $5 to get $55 in free plays. You can use it on any play. It does not need to be your first. See the terms of use for details.
Appreciate all of you joining us here on the DLS Mavs postgame show as the Mavericks get the 118-113 win over the Miami Heat despite Tyler Hero dropping 40 points from Miami, going 15-30 from the field. Your Mavericks shot 51% from the field and 36% from downtown, 28 assists on their 46 made field goals. Dante Exum, big night for him, 27 points, 11-13 from the field. Mavericks now 4-0 lifetime when Dante Exum scores at least 20 points in a game.
Feed the beast.
And he was a beast tonight, getting some real help from contributors like Kessler Edwards and Max Christie as well. We did share the news as far as Daniel Gafford is concerned, suffering a grade 3 MCL sprain to his right knee. That means he will be out at least 6 weeks, according to ESPN, Shams Charania, and Tim McMahon going forward as the Mavericks move toward the All-Star break. We're joined in studio by our Mavericks beat writer, Tim Cato, fresh off of tonight's win and coming over from the American Airlines Center, discussing obviously what this season could potentially look like once the Mavericks come back from the All-Star break. They'll have their schedule resume on February 21st when they take on the New Orleans Pelicans before they go on the road to take on the Golden State Warriors and, of course, Luka Doncic and the Los Angeles Lakers. Before we get to our guy, Tim, let's answer a few super chats that we got so far in tonight's show. We'll start with Seth King with the
Seth King, shout out, man.
The $9.99 super chat.
Right
Appreciate
on.
you. Thank you so much.
We're like Seth Emperor. I don't know. What else is higher than King?
Let's move on to the next one.
Thanks, Tanner.
I liked it. I thought that was
Sun Will Rise Co. With the $5 super chat. An underrated reason reason fans have stuck in is because of podcasts like this and
Thank
Locked On and Slightly, etc. Congratulations to you guys and thank you.
I've never heard of those other people you mentioned, but
we're not afraid of any other
thank
show.
you.
We're not afraid of shows.
No, we love those.
you're
We
right.
love those guys.
Yeah.
We love those guys. I think
I'm just reminding Tim of what he said. We're not
Yeah, no,
afraid
that's
of
true.
any of these shows. Okay?
one thing that's really different now, I think, with in the last like few years as shows like this. I mean, ours is new. We've only been doing this about 6 months, but as Locked On has gained steam and Slightly's come on and started doing his thing, and there's more like kind of fan driven podcasts or non-traditional media. It just gives fans places to like feel their feelings. They trade Luka and we were live at 1 a.m. getting real sad on the internet and being real confused. Fans are protesting and we're there at the protest. We're not joining in, but we're recording the protest and sharing it with you guys. And, we're getting fired up and getting upset too. But, they win tonight and we're popping champagne. Daniel Gafford out 6 weeks and we're having a real bad time now. But I mean, that's the great thing about community and the great thing I think about this era of sports fandom and of sports media is that you can share these feelings and these experiences with people in ways that you couldn't before. I think like the distance and separation between fans and like media or fans and people in the know is it's narrower than ever before, and I think that's only a good thing. Fans are getting more informed, fans are getting smarter. We're trying to meet y'all where you are, you're trying to meet us where we are. It's all good.
And the NBA has always been fun for the conversations we have about it, for the gossip, to be quite frank. The biggest traffic month for any podcast, website, anybody covering the NBA, the biggest traffic month is always July. Always. If your team goes to the finals, sometimes June can overtake that. Or if it has an enormous, trade deadline deal, sometimes February. That might be the case here. But consistently, it's always July because people love the what if, and they love, trying to understand the team. And, certainly when the league talks about the ratings and all this stuff, I'm sure the league would love for more people to actually watch the games itself. But, I think that if, you're tuning into shows like this and tuning into the conversation and just wanting to know how the team is, but, can't commit to, 82 games a season, I think that's a equally good way to go around about your fandom if that works for you. So, I think that's what we provide, and it has been fun.
Tim, what else stood out for you from tonight's game as you were inside the arena? Obviously, it's been a very interesting atmosphere when it comes to the fans in the arena throughout the course of the week as the Mavericks were able to win these last couple of games before the All-Star break. What was the atmosphere like in the arena tonight for the game?
A little feistier than the night before, I would say. No ejections. I think just based off the eye test that they have pretty firmly changed the policy on that, and they're letting people shout. But there was people shouting, and there was almost a very small chant that got going with 10 plus people during one. I believe Miami was shooting free throws. It might have been Dallas. There was definitely some chants during Dallas free throws as well, much to Mark Cuban's chagrin. Did not look like he yelled at anybody, but definitely some Fire Nico chants going on. Just coming here and reporting that, not trying to bring anything down. However you feel about that, that is definitely something that was going on. But it was in the backdrop. It was definitely specific people who were consistently doing it. Otherwise, it was, kind of the crowd that you would expect. It was engaged crowd that saw a very fun game, on both directions. Saw a lot of very good Dallas performances. Jason Kidd, talking after the game, said that, the way the team has responded over the past 2 weeks, which, again, wherever you feel, this has been an unprecedented 2 weeks for an NBA organization to go through. Completely unprecedented. Partially unprecedented by decisions the franchise made. but completely unprecedented for everybody in that locker room who had no, impetus or control over everything that's been happening. And so, Jason Kidd said it's a compliment to the organization. And that was the main thing. I saw a lot of people in the chat earlier, wanting to give Jason Kidd his flowers and his praise for, the coaching job that he has done. And absolutely, 100%. That is something that needs to be done. Jason Kidd has been, it's very impressive to get this group to buy in every single night with this many injuries. I think he's got this team to buy in all season, before the trade, after the trade, it doesn't matter. This team has gone through injuries all season. Now, there have been tough losses that have been lost late in games, but this team hasn't barely got blown out. Like one game that was a 20-plus point loss, maybe two. I guess with Cleveland and maybe add one. But this team has consistently got up nearly every single night, no matter what the roster is looking like, and has a bunch of wins against teams that are, objectively are better, given the state of the roster that they brought into that night. So credit to Jason Kidd for that. And he said that he wouldn't say where he's going on vacation. Said he's getting out of town a little bit. But he said on this vacation, he's going to think about the timeline of the players coming back, and he's going to see how that puzzle fits. So he's working on vacay. That's what he said.
Well, I hope he is able to get away, for a day or two and relax, because obviously from the game a few days ago where, he did not do his post-game availability, and he explained last night he was just having a rough moment after Monday night's game.
And for the record, as a media member who, could feel aggrieved by that, I actually have total respect and understanding.
Yeah.
Especially a few days later, I don't think there was anything wrong with that at all. It was a heartbreaking defeat that featured more injury, even their injury crisis even furthered.
Mm-hmm.
Furthered? I don't think it's furthered. So no issue whatsoever with Jason Kidd in that moment.
And I thought
he's allowed to have one.
Yeah. And I thought it was a very honest moment from him, honestly, to reveal that obviously he was not feeling great after what was yet another loss and an injury sustained as well. But for this team, as we not only look at the win that they got tonight over Miami, we'll get to some of the turning points, some of the moments that really define this game throughout the course of the rest of the show when we're joined by our National NBA insider, Marc Stein, live here in studio. But you start to look at where this team is after 56 games, 30-26. If you had told me that this team was going to have 30 wins by the time we got to the All-Star break, and all the things that have taken place from an injury standpoint, a change in the roster as well, the biggest one that you could think of in terms of moving on from Luka Doncic, and still find a way to win 4 out of 5 games going into the break, I would have told you that's a pretty good scenario given everything that's happened, and that's where they are. The question being, how do they find a way to overcome more significant injury news, even in the wake of trying to just figure out the best plan and solution for Anthony Davis? Because playing without big men is just going to be simply, in my mind, unsustainable given the situation that they're facing right now. How do they try to move forward when it comes to the situation in the injury front that they're dealing with right now?
You just specifically with a big man?
Yeah.
I mean, it's gonna look better when PJ Washington comes back. That's truly their best option as a small ball center. And he is, by all accounts, returning right after the break. That's going to help a lot. I do think Dwight Powell, again, we don't have a good sense of when he's coming back. And when we have asked, we have not been given a good sense of when he's coming back. So I have no idea. But in the meantime, yeah, I mean, even when PJ Washington's back out there, it's still going to be some Kessler Edwards as the backup, and then it's just going to be biding time. What I do want to point out that where this is most going to affect you is teams that have a skilled offensive center, or maybe just like a huge center. But Dallas isn't playing Wemby before like the middle of the month, and like we're thinking Anthony Davis maybe could be back like March 15th. The games between now and then are the Pelicans. You're not too worried about that. We're a little bit worried about Zion, but you're not too worried about that. The Warriors, Dallas just beat them. The Lakers, who now infamously do not have a center. The Hornets, I guess if Mark Williams plays, maybe that's a concern, but I don't think that's a huge concern. Then the Bucks, the Kings, and the Bucks on March 1st, March 3rd, March 5th. Those are games I would, if Dallas does not have any center back for those three, that's when it really starts getting worrisome. We saw what the Kings did playing both bigs and how that was really tough for Dallas to stop.
Mm-hmm.
And the combination of Giannis inside and Brook Lopez, a former 20 points per game scorer as a post guy, he doesn't do that as much anymore. But if you're telling him, okay, you're going to get guarded by Kessler Edwards and also Giannis is going to be driving to the rim, I don't think there's any way Dallas can beat Milwaukee either of those games. I don't think they have much of a chance. They don't have their center core. They've proven me wrong in a lot of ways this season, especially of late. But that's when you start worrying. And then you have like the Grizzlies after that. Definitely a concern with Zach Edey and Jaren Jackson Jr. You've got a couple games against the Spurs on March 10th, on March 5th, March 12th. Those worry you a little bit, even though Wemby isn't a traditional back to the basket center.
Sure.
So there are games coming, but the hope is by early March, you are very close to a center returning, or at least you've survived the stretch to that point and gotten some wins, when the matchups are a little bit more favorable.
Let's take our next break here on the DLS Mavs post-game show. When we come back, some of the turning points of this game, including the fourth quarter. Those will be joined in studio by our national NBA insider, Marc Stein, as well. All that and more coming up next here on the DLS Mavs post-game show. But first, let me talk to you about Saturday Neon, started by two college friends. Saturday Neon makes officially licensed collegiate logo LED neon signs, perfect for your home, office, dorm room, fan cave, or bar as well. You can check out their new Essentials collection featuring almost 50 of the biggest schools in the country, including Texas, Texas A&M, Texas Tech, Oklahoma, and Oklahoma State signs as well. Unlike traditional neon signs, these LED signs won't break or shatter, but still give you the classic uniform look and glow that you know and love. Lasting up to 100,000 hours, you'll be enjoying your signs for years to come. They're super easy to install as well with 3M command strips as well. Low voltage, so they don't get hot, and always safe to the touch. So the perfect gift for anyone that you're looking for to deck out your man cave as well. So make sure you head over to SaturdayNeon.com and use code DLLS for 10% off. Again, SaturdayNeon.com. Use code DLLS for 10% off your Saturday Neon sign today.
Rugged Road is dedicated to creating innovative and durable outdoor gear for adventurers who demand the very best. Their products are designed with the highest quality materials and craftsmanship, ensuring they perform in the toughest conditions. Whether you're on land or water, Rugged Road gear is built to accompany you on every adventure. One of the most unique features of Rugged Road coolers is their ability to always float upright. Marc Stein, never lose a drink, and Tim Cato, whenever you're on the go, these coolers are incredibly light, making them easy to transport on any trip without compromising on performance. They're perfect for a variety of outdoor activities, from fishing and tubing to camping and tailgating. These coolers are designed to meet the needs of every outdoor or sports enthusiast.
Mm-hmm.
Or if your sports are outdoors, they can fit that too. So gear up for your next adventure with Rugged Road coolers. Reliable, durable, and built to be used, Rugged Road is your ultimate outdoor companion. Head to ruggedroadoutdoors.com and use code DLLS for 10% off.
Appreciate all of you joining us here on the DLS Mavs postgame show. Mavericks get it done at home over the Miami Heat in what is a 118-113 win. They've now won 4 of their last 5 games going into the All-Star break, including their last 2 at home. They'll resume their schedule on February 21st when they take on the New Orleans Pelicans at the American Airlines Center. We are now joined in studio by our national NBA insider, Marc Stein. You can always dial up the Stein line at the Stein line on X as Mark.
Just hold on. I appreciate the kind intro.
Sure.
Can you guys just give me 2 minutes? I'm in the middle of something that I'm
Absolutely.
Oh yeah, you
chasing down, and then I will join the conversation. I didn't mean to.
Live on the internet.
Yes, as we speak.
Go ahead and flip your phone around.
Nope.
Kind of get closer to the camera. Oh, okay.
You don't want him to kill you, so we don't want that to happen. So,
but hi guys. Sorry.
Hello. Thank you for hopping in studio with us. Before we get to more, let's talk about a couple of moments here, especially in the fourth quarter, where the Mavericks were able to get this done. As we fast forward to what was a back and forth game, a game that featured 15 ties and 32 lead changes. In an entertaining game tonight where the Mavericks win by 5. We fast forward to the fourth quarter where Miami was up 100-96 with 6 minutes left to go in this game. But Bobby, the Mavericks were able to make the plays down the stretch. They go on what was a 14-2 run to take a 110-102 lead. Dante Exum was big in that moment. His transition dunk gave them that 8-point lead, but guys started knocking down shots. But Dante Exum was huge tonight, and during that 14-2 run, they made some really key plays to be able to get it done there.
Yeah, Dante was great. I also thought Kessler Edwards was really, really good, and he's strung together a few good games in a row now, not just defensively but offensively. I mean, tonight he had 15 and 9, which going up against Kel'el Ware, who is like a center, taken in the first round, whereas Kessler Edwards is a small forward on a two-way contract. Ware had 17 and 9. So Kessler Edwards almost matched his production point for point and rebound for rebound. And he was plus 10. And, dude, I mean, he's taking the corner threes right now. He took a wing three and knocked it down. That confidence is really important because earlier in the season he would get in the game and just, like, kind of almost on offense would, like, put his hands behind his back or put his hands in his pockets. Like, he's not trying to touch the ball. But over the last few games, like, you got nowhere to hide, man. Like, you got to play. You got to give him 20, 30 minutes. Tonight he played 40 minutes.
Yeah.
KG. You got to be a contributor. You have to be a factor at both ends of the floor. And, he was not afraid. He took some threes. He took some twos, did stuff around the rim, finished with 3 assists as well. And, I mean, you know what to expect from him on defense. He's going to play hard, scrap, do all that stuff. But if he's also giving you offense like this, I mean, the reality of the situation is over the next couple weeks, he's probably going to play a lot of minutes. And so, it's definitely better to be feeling good about yourself than bad about yourself. And the same thing could be said for Dante. The headline of this video is Dante Exum back? Well, the first few games, Dante Exum was physically back from injury. He did not look like Dante Exum from last season.
That's true.
He was also reticent. He was passing up shots. The very last play of the game, whenever they had a chance to win against Philly, he took the inbounds pass and was trying to make a play that wasn't there and ended up turning it over, and the game was over.
Yeah.
And then he made some mistakes in the next game. Just against Sacramento the other day, he went 0-4 from the free throw line in a game they lost in overtime. Those 4 points would have come in handy in regulation. But tonight, he said it himself in the postgame. He's like, I just kind of looked around, and it's like, no one else is going to play. Like, this is an opportunity. And he took advantage of the opportunity. And, for him, much like was the case with previous Mavs, guys like Maxey, Josh Green, there's been a lot of them over the years. Confidence is such a huge driver in a lot of role players' success. And if Dante's feeling good about himself, and if Kessler Edwards feeling good about himself, and if Omac's feeling good about himself, and Max Christie feeling good about themselves, then it doesn't really matter who's playing. Like, they're going to be up for the fight, and they're going to believe that they can win, and that can take you a long way in this league.
Hi, guys.
Hello,
What's
Mark.
going on?
Sorry for my not so smooth joining of the show.
What can you tell us? What can you break
got it.
for us?
I'm chasing a bunch. Tonight's been a crazy night. I can't really tell you all about it yet, but I will. But I will at some point. But basically, it was just easier to. I don't know if I've ever come in here after a home game because I'm always stalking the halls and stalking 2 teams. But today I had some alternative reporting assignments. Made it down here just as the Mavs were putting a seal on this win, and said, you know what? Instead of trying to sneak into the arena and chase after 2 teams that are surely running to planes to get to the All-Star. Everybody in that building wants to, every player, every member / employee of the 2 teams is rushing to get to their All-Star break. So I said, you know what? Instead of trying to stalk people who don't want to talk, let's just come in and sit with my guys. But I mean, look, it's still so far down the list probably of all the things we're talking about. But the fact that under these circumstances with this roster that they were so close to a 5-game winning streak is just staggering.
I mean, if they get one stop on DeMar DeRozan.
Yeah. It is. I mean, like that coaching staff, which so rarely gets praised for anything, is doing some of its finest work in its time in Dallas right now. I mean, Kessler, it's funny tonight, Kessler Edwards talking about, hey, they had me listed at center. Yeah, they had you listed at center in the last game too. The Mavs are 2-0 in the Kessler Edwards is their center era. I mean, it's just unbelievable. And look, I mean, when we talk about Gafford, though, I I want to turn to the guy who, Tim mentioned him, and I consult him and lean on him a lot. Jeff Stotts. He maintains InStreetClothes.com. He is a Mavs fan. I mean, he is a Mavs fan in his spare time, but just a tremendous chronicler of injuries. He keeps the most complete injury database that's not officially affiliated with the NBA that you'll find anywhere. And he says, if Daniel Gafford indeed has a
little more. We're dropping his body up.
Really?
Just a little bit.
Huh. I'm such a shouter. I wouldn't have assumed that. Okay. If this is a grade 3 MCL sprain, that means it's a complete tear. Now, if surgery isn't required, which is often the case in meniscus situations, the average time lost in a non-surgical case, according to Professor Stotts, is 26 games, 60 days. So it's just, look, that's
it, Mark.
There's
26 games left in the season.
That's the rest of the regular season.
And a source literally just hit me and said it is grade 3. They must have heard me. Maybe they're watching this show.
Oh,
so
boy.
it's like,
show yourself in chat and tell us more secrets.
So it's like,
that's
what can you say? What can you say? Before the trade, you even thought that the Mavericks had. The Mavericks, that center rotation helped get this team to the finals last year. And it's just like Davis, Lively, Gafford, and not a soul can tell you when we are going to see any of these guys play a game next.
Yeah, Derek Lively's sitting there on the sideline with his walking boot on. Like he's sitting there with
it's so strange because the first game that Lively went to, he didn't have the boot on.
Yeah.
And then the next time we saw him, he did have a boot on.
Yeah.
And, Anthony Davis, again, there's still so much murkiness there. At least with Gafford, have we reached the point that the silver lining is with Gafford, we actually have a projected recovery timetable. But despite all that, the fortitude that this team shows and the response that Jason Kidd is continuing to get out of these players. What they were missing 8 guys tonight and had 7 in double figures still.
Mm-hmm.
It's
if not more.
Like it's Dante Exum with a 27-point game. I'm pretty sure you didn't have that in your sleeper picks tonight.
I did not.
No, he did not.
He's not even listed as an option in sleeper most
No,
nights,
he
Mark.
did not. But yeah, let's count it, Anthony Davis.
Do you want me to take? I'm getting a sourcing call. Should I take it?
Yeah.
Of course.
You want me to run off and take it?
Of course.
Do it on mic.
Not going to do it on my.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, you need
I
to
figured
run.
it was worth shooting my shot.
This time I'm going to run through the screen.
Yeah, of course. Please do so.
No, it's important.
This
It's
is
important.
amazing.
It's important.
I love when this happens. This is starting to become one of my favorite parts of the postgame show when he gets the source. Okay, I'm going to be that guy for just 30 seconds. Personally, this is Kevin Gray speaking right here, okay? I'm going to operate under the assumption. I put this out on social media as well. I'm going to operate under the assumption now, especially in light of the Daniel Gafford news. I'm going to operate under the assumption that I'm not going to see Anthony Davis for the rest of the regular season. And that is because of how conservative it appears that this team is taking it. If that is going to be the case, no Anthony Davis, no Daniel Gafford, no Derek Lively II for the remainder of the regular season. And to Bobby's point, you can't go sign anyone either. So if we're going to operate under that assumption, this team is going to be playing with no true center for the rest of the regular season. Now, the optimistic hope is that Anthony Davis maybe can return in a month. If that's the case, great, cool, awesome, amazing. If that's not the case, they're literally going to be playing without a true center for the rest of the regular season. And that, to me, is a wild thought, even with them being 4 games above 500 going into the All-Star break here.
Yeah, they have 4 guys on their team that can capably play 20 or 25 or more minutes a game at center. They're all out. We don't know when any of them are going to come back. Dwight was the one guy Mark didn't mention. You didn't mention.
Oh, I completely forgot about Dwight.
And,
the hip injury. Yeah,
I like Dwight Powell, but he's obviously not going to be the difference between winning a championship and not winning a championship. But he certainly would help because he's 6'11".
Yeah.
they're just going to be small every single night, and that is a lot of strain and a lot of stress to put on those guys. And I think the issue that's becomes further complicated as a result is the guys that you're playing at center, Kessler, Edwards, and Omax. So Kessler again tonight, he was 3 of 4 from 3. Omax is not a 3-point shooter. Even if he makes one, the defense is not going to respond. Kessler Edwards, again, not really a 3-point shooter. Even if he gets hot, the defense isn't going to respond. And so some of the advantages that you would gain from playing small ball is that you are dragging centers away from the rim. You're dragging size out onto the perimeter to make things easier around the basket for guys like Kyrie and, the GOAT Max Christie.
That's right.
But the Mavs don't have any of those advantages either. So it's like they're shrinking on defense and the floor is shrinking on offense. And so it's, they're facing pretty long odds to achieve their goal this season. I'm not going to lie. I mean, if we're not seeing Gafford again, and if we're not seeing Lively till April, and even if we're seeing AD on St. Patty's Day, that's a lot of basketball between now and then, and every game matters.
Let's take our final break here on the DLS Mavs postgame show. When we come back, more with our National NBA insider, Marc Stein, live here in studio with us, and we'll get to your super chats, Ben, coming up on the other side of the break on the DLS Mavs postgame show.
But first, die hard. Hey, Jeff Wilson, our Rangers beat writer, is out in Surprise, and not like Surprise. It's literally called Surprise, Arizona, where the Texas Rangers, who are gearing up for their
That's not bad.
every other year Bruce Bochy run, are getting ready. Spring training is underway. Pitchers and catchers are out there, and Jeff is on the scene getting interviews, doing some reporting, bringing you to Surprise alongside him. Tim was here earlier talking about the article he wrote about Anthony Davis's mysterious recovery timeline. We got Joe Hoyt and Clarence writing about the Cowboys. We got Sam Nestler and Sean Shapiro writing about the Stars. There's a whole lot of writing on our website, alldlls.com. And if you want to read that, and if you want to join the DLLS Discord for diehards only, if you want to get some discounts on shirts and on events, if you want to get a physical diehard card, the way you do that, scan that QR code right there, or click the link in the description below, or go to alldlls.com/diehard for a limited time only, because it's Ranger spring training. We're running a little special. For limited time only, it's only $4 a month. That is a $48 annual fee right off the rip. But in exchange, you get a free shirt right when you sign up. That pays for almost the whole thing.
That's right.
That pays for almost the whole membership. You also get a discount, all the other benefits I just mentioned. It's great. It's awesome. I would highly encourage it, and I'm very grateful for every single one of you that have. A couple of people signed up to become diehards just tonight. Asen and Joey. Yesterday, Wesley and Clifton and Will all signed up the day before. How about Hannah, Eric, and David, and Chris, and Claudia? Shout out to all of you for becoming a diehard. If you just want to support us for free, hey, that's cool too. Just make sure you're subbed to the channel, like the stream, comment below, be cool in chat, rate us on iTunes and Spotify, do all that great stuff. And yeah, we just appreciate y'all.
AllDLLS.com. Become a diehard member today. Join us in our DLS Sports family. Over 16,700 strong as far as our subscriber count is concerned on YouTube. The best way you can help us support us here is to like, comment, and subscribe to DLS Sports, and download our podcast wherever you get your podcast for free. Mavericks get it done 118-113 at the American Airlines Center to win their 4th game in the last 5, winning 2 straight on their way to the All-Star break. Dante Exum, 11 of 13 from the field, 27 points in the win. The Mavericks had 7 guys in double figures tonight. Max Christie, another strong game with 19 points. Kessler Edwards, legacy game for him, 15 points, and a big win for Dallas. Let's get to a couple super chats as we have our national NBA insider Marc Stein live in studio with us. We get to Mitch Mitchell with the $2 super chat. Cheers! Another dub.
Thank
cheers,
you, Mitch.
Cheers to you,
Cheers.
Mitch. For
You guys are really drinking champagne? That's real?
Well, it's Prosecco.
yeah, very much so.
I feel like French people would be really upset if you called this champagne, because this is not from Champagne.
Not at all.
This is Prosecco. Unbranded Prosecco.
Mark, would you like to read this particular super chat?
GM Ben.
That's right.
Who is GM Ben?
Shout out
GM Ben.
to GM Ben.
Showing us
You know who GM
showing
Ben
us
is.
his vast wealth with the $2 super chat.
Shout out to GM Ben.
That's your voice.
That is
That's
your
not
voice.
AI.
That, you know what? That day it was real. I was truly in awe of the editing work he did.
It was a great edit.
When
It
I dumped a 3-minute essay on him at like 1:20 Dallas time or something like that. I'm surprised he didn't come running on here. And this super chat is so boring. I don't really need to read that.
No, you kind of need to read it. That's the whole idea.
Big D stands for Big Dwight Howard.
Oh, right.
You thought that was funny. Don't even send that in.
Tanner,
Okay.
delete
But-
GM
but-
Ben. Just delete him.
Play that one again.
Tanner,
And
delete
mine, no.
GM Ben. Just delete him.
He genuinely did some wonderful editing because
Yeah.
like I said, I'm surprised he hasn't come running in here live. Like I told you guys, I'm the worst photojournalist in the history of sports journalism. When I see Abby, I'm just like, yes, Abby will have it covered. All I have to do is cover the team. She will, I can't do anything. So I'm in LA by myself. And he goes, I really need a video out of you. And I'm like, listen, man, I love doing videos. I love writing them. I love piecing them together, but I can't shoot this myself. I suck at this. And so I taped the first one and it had no volume. And I'm
Oh,
like,
no.
I get a take in the can, and I'm like, there's no volume. And then I tape the second one, and the same thing happens. And I sent him the second one. He's like, I have volume. And I realized that I had my phone on some kind of muting situation. So there probably was volume on the first one. It's like, I can't do this. But like I said, he made it look beautiful.
Yeah.
And it looks like a very professional product. So that day, shout out GM Ben, was 100% from the heart.
Can I lob just a little grenade into the room real quick?
Sure.
It's 11 p.m. Central Time. It's after midnight on the East Coast. We're all up late. We're all having a good time here. The Mavs have a better record than the Lakers since their debuts.
I was actually going to ask because I don't have my computer. I wasn't expecting
Well,
to be
you're
here.
doing some heavy lifting.
I
on
don't
that,
have my-
but
I don't have my computer. Can you share the updated West standings? Like where are the 30 and 26 Mavs?
They still remain in 8th, I believe. Even
Yeah,
after
the Mavs are in
tonight's
8th.
result.
They're a game out of 7th,
Yes.
2 out of 6th. They're currently 4 behind the Lakers. They're a game and a half up on both Sacto and Golden State, and importantly, 3 games up on Phoenix. However, the Suns do own the tiebreaker, so that is something to keep in mind. And they own the tiebreaker, but they play one more time.
As interminably painful and agonizing as following this team has been since Christmas Day, when we watched Luka trudge off with that calf strain. And it has been what? Is that 6 weeks, 7 weeks? It feels like 60.
Yeah,
It has been a slog for all of history. We all need an all-star break after this, and
Oh
that's
my
not
gosh.
enough. But like the fact that they're still 8th and haven't slipped lower and actually have a skosh of momentum right now is unbelievable. Unbelievable.
I mean, it's remarkable. I mean, to have 30 wins after 56 games with all the things that this team has gone through, and to still be, yes, obviously in the play-in at this moment, but if you had told me this is where they were going to be after all this, I mean, you take it. To be 4 games above 500 and having won 4 out of the last 5 games. Give this team a lot of credit. They deserve to have a chance to be able to catch their breaths a little bit, especially Jason Kidd, obviously, for what this team and he has been through over the last several weeks and really throughout the course of the year, which kind of transitions us a little bit, Mark, to obviously the injury situation for this team. And it continues, unfortunately, to increase in terms of significance. We've touched on Daniel Gafford suffering what is a grade 3 MCL sprain that will have him out a number of weeks, potentially out for the rest of the remainder of the regular season. You said something last night that I don't think a lot of people caught, but I did for sure, and I wanted to make sure I asked you about it, because one player that we haven't seen debut at all is Caleb Martin, and he's dealing with a hip strain right now. What is the timeline for him? Because I believe, and correct me if I'm wrong, the estimated reports that are out there may not necessarily be the case when it comes to Caleb Martin?
Well, I know that I believe Tim McMahon reported that it was, according to his reporting, that it was a 2 to 3 week likely absence for Caleb Martin. When the trade first went down, based on what I was told, I got the vibe that that might be an optimistic projection. But I have to say, I was not there today to get a last update. So if there was a pregame update from Jason Kidd on Caleb Martin, I was not there for it. So I don't know that my intel on that one is absolutely current. But when the deal went down, you know, the Mavericks knew that they weren't going to have Caleb Martin for, you know, it wasn't a day-to-day situation with Caleb Martin. They went ahead with the trade anyway because they felt like whether it was 2 to 3 weeks or if it stretches beyond that, that it's not going to go way beyond that and that they're going to be able to get him back, you know, for the stretch run. And look, he's a player that they like because of his length, playoff experience. He's on a pretty reasonable contract when you talk about a long-term deal. I mean, it comes in probably at less than what I would imagine Grimes would have wanted once he became a restricted free agent this summer. And I don't know, one of the more interesting things I saw in one of Caleb Martin's first games on the Mavericks bench in street clothes, but I saw him like coaching up Kyrie Irving. And I'm like, wow, he just got here.
Oh, wow.
And he's like saying some strategic stuff. So it just kind of gave me a, like, he's a very confident in himself guy. He clearly saw something strategically that he felt like he wanted to share with Kyrie in that moment. And, you know, the Mavericks got the extra, you know, when they initially did the deal, there was no draft compensation in it coming to Dallas. Philadelphia added a future second-round pick. So the Mavericks said, you know what, let's go ahead and do this. They could have voided the trade. The Mavericks had the opportunity to void the trade at that time. When Philadelphia agreed to throw in the second-round pick, the Mavs said, okay, we're going to do this. But look, a specific return timetable for Caleb Martin, much like with Anthony Davis, and even with Dwight. I mean, Dwight Powell's missed 14 games now.
Yes.
We do not have, like I said, this is the smallest of consolations, but at least with Gafford, we have a projection to work with. We don't have it in the case of these other guys. And I think that's, you know, that's naturally frustrating for anybody following this team.
Would it be unreasonable to think that, based off of what we know as of this moment, that we won't see any of those three centers potentially for the remainder of the regular season? Obviously, we know with Lively what he's dealing with in terms of the ankle injury. I'm specifically more talking about Anthony Davis at this point.
Look, it is 100% the natural question for you to ask. I just got to be honest, though. I think if I try, I would be guessing to tell you that.
Sure.
Like, we just, you know, I've really, you know, everybody, what I've really tried to do is report what is confirmed, report what you know, report the absolutes.
Sure.
And again, with Gafford, you know, it's come out that there is a projection, but like, the reality is there is murkiness with Anthony Davis. My gut is that is intentional. They don't want to add pressure to the situation by trying to put a time scale on it. I mean, I reported this situation during the Super Bowl. It's now almost Friday.
Mm-hmm.
We don't know a heck of a lot more than we knew on Super Bowl Sunday. And like I said, I don't think that's necessarily an accident. I mean, they certainly don't feel like they owe the media these answers. I mean, I think it's the public, their team, their fans that want to know. But, you know, this is not an exclusively Mavericks thing. I mean, this is modern sports. You know, teams obfuscate on injuries. I mean, we see it. I mean, I always say I wish we had that feature where we could like immediately die, like this was the, you know, the Starship Enterprise, and we could like we had a big screen and we could bring in our friends from PHLY. I mean, we should have those guys on to tell us about, you know, injury obfuscation and how frustrating it can be. But it's like, this is like, you very rarely get clarity. I mean, it's just and that's it is my job to try to get that clarity. And that's why, like, I took that call and I was told something, just to be honest with you guys, I was told some things in that call, but I'm not just going to start spouting them on the show because I got to confirm them. I got to make, especially with like, you got to make sure it's right. You hear stuff, you got to make sure it's right. So I know everybody wants these answers, and believe me, I want to give them to you. I would love to be able to tell you Anthony Davis is out this long and he's projected to be back on this date.
I would love for you to tell me Anthony Davis isn't out at all.
Well, and here's the thing. No, there haven't been whispers that like this could be season ending, but I think because there is no specificity in the air that people jump to that conclusion. Nobody likes to say, I don't know, or we don't know. We don't know. We just don't.
Sure.
Like I said, no one more than me wants to be able to give, definitive details on this. And I'm going to keep trying to get them. But like I said, I think I'm not sure they have that clear picture, but no, there haven't been no whispers about like, oh, the season's over. Like,
Sure.
I mean, so I know that people are making that leap. And it probably is because there's such a dearth of information, but hopefully soon we'll have a better picture, I hope.
I want to thank our television audience for joining us here on the DLS MAVS postgame show. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe on the way out the door as well. Visit alldlls.com. Become a diehard member today, and you can download and subscribe to our podcast wherever you get your podcast for free.
Charlie Saturday in the chat room.
As we continue here on the Dallas Mavericks postgame show and finish up, the Mavericks, of course, get the 118-113 win over the Miami Heat and go into the All-Star break winning 4 of their last 5 games, winning their last 2 straight as they continue their 5-game homestand on the other side of the All-Star break on February 21st when they welcome in Zion Williamson and the New Orleans Pelicans. We're joined in studio by our national.
How did you guys have the plastic cups here for this?
We got them upstairs.
We got all sorts of stuff in the kitchen.
And GM Ben, Marc's not angry with me.
We're for you.
That's right, Tanner.
Look at GM Ben. Now GM Ben trying to throw a divide between me and Super Kev.
Yeah, no, not at all. Look, I think
you see, this is why I say ban the man.
you can't drive a wedge between me and Stein, okay?
Leave Super Kev and I alone, GM Ben.
You cannot do it. Now that,
look at this.
Now he wants to ask you, Bobby.
Oh my God!
When he wants you to ask Marc.
If you put $1.99 next to that, Ben, I'll ask him.
Oh, okay. He'll probably do it too. But I mean, to your point, Marc, I think a lot of folks, there's so much ambiguity out there when it comes to what is going on with Davis. And of course, you see things from fans who are floating out the idea, they don't want to talk about it because it could be a PR nightmare and the fans react a certain way because of already how they feel about the trade and Anthony Davis coming here. There's so much unknown out there that it just leaves to a lot of speculation.
And hey, I get it. Like even the Gafford situation.
Sure.
It has to be frustrating that he gets hurt Monday. On Tuesday, we hear he's going to be reevaluated in 2 weeks. And now it's a grade 3 sprain 48 hours later. So it's I feel for everybody who loves this team. They want answers. They want clarity. And there is very little clarity in the Mavs universe right now. But then there's the good part of that is that the Omax Kessler Edwards front court is suddenly unstoppable. Who needs a center? Who needs the proper centers?
Oh boy,
they do.
They do. They desperately need them. They need them really bad. I mean, the matchups have been kind of in their favor a little bit with the Golden State Warriors last night. Obviously tonight with Miami, they were able to play and stem the tide without centers. But my gosh, it has been a dire situation like we talked about the other night in terms of the centers. Before we end our show here, Marc, for you, now that the Mavericks are at the All-Star break, the NBA at the All-Star break, for you have been covering this league for a long time. I can't imagine a pre-All-Star break news cycle the way that it's played out in quite some time, given the biggest bombshell probably in the last 15, 20 years in terms of the trading of Luka Doncic for Anthony Davis.
Yeah, so what day are we on? This is day 12?
Yeah, happened February 1st. So
day 13 since the trade?
Almost 2 weeks.
Yeah, it's, I mean, The phone still rings constantly. Stein, what really happened?
I think we're going to be asking that question for a long time.
Stein.
Like, what really, really happened here?
Yeah, today I got a call from an old friend, former NBA agent, who has now moved into another line of work. Stein, okay, what happened? What really happened? It's like people still cannot believe this. And, again, there's an all-star break, and Kyrie Irving will be representing the Mavericks. And it's funny, I had a senior moment today. I totally got this backwards. Someone at the league office had a good laugh at my expense. When Kyrie was ruled out today, my initial thought was, wait a minute, if he doesn't play in the game before the All-Star game, doesn't that mean he can't play in the All-Star game? Isn't there a rule? No, dummy, you got it completely backwards. What the rule used to be was, if you were injured and if you were selected for the All-Star game, but you said you were injured and you can't play in the All-Star game, then you can't play for your team in the next one. So I got it completely backwards, and someone had to correct me and laugh at my confusion. But I'm quite sure Kyrie Irving got the night off, the Mavs got the win, and now Kyrie will most certainly play in the All-Star game, which I know you guys cannot wait to see this new this new All-Star format of 4 teams of 8 players playing.
I haven't slept in days, man. I'm so excited for this.
So
like,
anticipated.
I just cannot wait.
Okay, all that facetious tone aside, I mean, so the All-Star break's going to go fast. A week from tomorrow is their first game, home against the Pelicans, but 4 days after that, this team is in Los Angeles, California.
Are you going, or are you going to be here?
I will not be here, but I will be here because wherever I am at that point in my undisclosed location, there's no way I will not be joining you guys.
Gotcha. Okay. We will be sending Tim out there, but we are doing a watch along that night. We'll be doing a live stream.
There will be no way that I miss the discussion after that one, because that is, I mean,
that's the game.
That is the game.
Max Christie versus Luka.
Did
Dante versus LeBron.
Is Oscar in the chat? Did he really get that Christie jersey he vowed to get? Do we have
I don't know.
Do we have any proof, Oscar, that you actually went out and got that Max Christie jersey? Because I think I saw his name in the chat tonight.
Yeah, he was in there. We'll get some confirmation on that.
It's about a 15-second delay.
Yeah.
And the reason I was laughing at Milwaukee-based Charlie Saturday was because I did an online chat with my pal Jake Fisher today in the 2:00 Central hour. And, of course, Charlie Saturday was in that throwing barbs at me. And now it's after 11 p.m. Central, and here he is with us again.
I do have to credit the Bucks because
Your Bucks.
I went on and on about how they went through a 2-month stretch of schedule where they did not play a single good team. And that's not a joke. I think they played the Cavs one time. Otherwise, it was literally all bad teams for 2 straight months, and yet they're still only 5 over 500. However, last night they played at Minnesota and they won. So that's the first quality win for the Bucks since
Wait, what?
The Milwaukee Bucks, the basketball team.
No. Are you talking about tonight?
No, last night.
Oh, last night. I'm sorry. I was because Minnesota beat Oklahoma City.
It's their first win against a good team, if you count the Pacers as a good team, since December 31st.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Before that, it would be against OKC in a game that didn't count. And before that, it would be whenever they beat the Pacers on November 22nd. Oh, how about this? Whenever they beat the Rockets on November 18th. That's the last time they beat a good team until last night. So shout out to Milwaukee. The whole city. I do love Milwaukee. It's a great town.
You sure about that? No,
it's a great city. I love Milwaukee. You ever been?
I love going to Milwaukee.
It's so good, dude.
Now, I'm not going to sit here and pretend that I could live in Milwaukee's winter.
So cold, dude.
but and first, look, I mean, it's no colder than Buffalo, which obviously I have lived in Western New York before, and sometimes my son and I do talk about, man, should we just make mom move to Buffalo so we can just go to 8 Bills home games? That does come up once in a while. But I have always said that going to Milwaukee is one of my favorite stops in the NBA. I love that city. Everything is walking distance.
It's such a good
great
place.
Sports town, great vibe. I'm a brat addict. I mean, the bar scene is tremendous.
Spotted Cow.
I
is so good,
love
too.
going to Milwaukee, and like I will probably my most memorable trip to Milwaukee was I was embedded with the Warriors the year they started 24-0, and they lost in Milwaukee.
The Luke Walton era.
And I went out that night after the Bucks won, and it was just it was like a DLS show, but just in real life at wherever I ended up, and it was quite a vibe. Look at GM Ben wishing you guys happy Valentine's Day.
And you as well. He included you as well.
I can't read that part.
Yeah. And I guess Mark, he did wish you that
Ooh,
as well.
the rivalry thickens.
I know, man. Y'all got to show some brotherly love on Valentine's Day. Okay, you got to put that aside.
GM Ben knows I love him. This is all just W.
Yeah,
it's
the Mavs
just
love
W-
Luka too,
just-
Mark.
It's just W.
Bobby, damn. Why?
Right.
Are you suggesting?
Why?
Are you suggesting that I would just trade GM Ben in the cover of night?
You're taking mysterious phone calls. I don't know.
Do I have the juice to trade GM Ben? Maybe
Have
I
you
need to
been
look into this.
Have you been to Ascension lately? I feel like we can laugh about this.
You
now.
want? I mean,
There's
what's
Oscar.
what
There's
is-
Oscar,
Oscar, yeah.
waiting for the jersey to come in.
He says, there you
nice, Oscar. Show us. We want to see it when you get it, man. That's awesome. The crazy part about Ascension is not that one, because that one's connected to the hotel that many visiting teams stay at. But I have an Ascension near me, and I am a very frequent Ascension customer.
Oh yeah.
go. Oh,
Okay.
very nice.
I have to say, I must, if I'm being as candid as possible.
Well, the Mavericks find a way to get it done tonight over the Miami Heat, despite Tyler Hero going off for 40 points. Dante Exum tonight, spectacular for the Mavericks, 27 points, 11 of 13 from the field. Kessler Edwards, 15 points. Max Christie, 19 points as well, as the Mavericks had 7 guys in double figures to win and finish 30-26 in their first 56 games. And we are now finally, mercifully, damn it, at the All-Star break. And my gosh, do we need it?
So you guys, somebody brought this in for this occasion today?
We acquired it.
Yes, because we had to figure out a way to celebrate us surviving and getting to the All-Star break, because
It's been a long go.
the last near
No,
2
seriously,
weeks.
just thinking about Christmas to now.
I can't. I don't even remember what happened to me more than 10 days ago now at this. Like, my life restarted the moment Luka got traded.
I mean, I'm old enough to remember when we thought the Utah loss was the worst thing that could
I
happen.
miss those days.
Same.
I wouldn't give, Mark, to go back in
I'm
time.
old enough to remember when the Utah loss was the worst thing that happened.
He's not even ringing the bell.
Tanner! No bell?
It's right
no,
in
it's
front
right
of
here
you.
in front of you.
This one they can't. It's really hard to hear though.
If your mic is on, it probably heard that.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah.
Did you guys hear the bell? Or was it too fate?
We'll see.
I miss sitting in the chat and arguing over whose fault it was that they blew the rotation on John Collins, and I won't mention the player whose fault it was because
He's no longer here.
Yeah, he's no longer here. But that was a terrible moment. After that, things were awesome, and then
They won
things got really bad.
14 of 17 games after that. They had climbed all the way up to
There
there
we
it is.
go.
The Utah loss.
Oh
Right.
God, I already scrolled away.
Oh my God!
I
There
am
it
really.
I'd already scrolled away.
Tanner
That's
used to be one of my foremost fans, but I think tonight with my my unexpected studio arrival, running through the shot, I think I'm in Tanner's doghouse.
It's been a
no,
long
it's
day
been
at
a
the
while.
office.
We had a wild pregame show. Obviously, the game itself was wild, and now this. But I mean, yeah, this team had won 14 of 17 games. They climbed all the way up to the top 3 of the West. We're thinking, oh my gosh, this team is headed toward a special season.
And then you decided to go on a cruise.
And what is that? And what
did.
what is that stat that, when we actually saw the projected starting 5, they were 6-1 with a net rating of a bazillion.
It was
best
absurd.
lineup in basketball.
It was. Yes.
What is that? I mean, do you remember what the net rating was? I mean, it was
they were plus 19.
Yeah,
or
it was
plus 20
crazy.
or something. It was. What do y'all think about the technical foul? Worst technical foul I've ever seen in my life, and I'm not joking.
Yeah, that was awful.
the single worst technical foul of all time.
That was a soft tech. Najee Marshall's on the ball against the stanchion. So what? Who cares?
It's been a long
The
decade,
knife!
though. It's been a long decade, squeezed into 56 games.
and then the 2 weeks.
I don't know what awaits us on the other side of this break. Apparently, it's not going to
center.
be big and bad. Apparently, it's going to be people that are closer to our size, which, you know what? That makes me feel like kind of cool. Maybe I could play center for the Mavs.
That makes one of us.
We're KG, we are like 1 or 2 more broken feet away from getting on the floor. You know how cool that is?
Don't get me started, Bobby, because I don't want to be that guy tonight. They won. Okay, I don't want to be that guy tonight. Because I'm not.
We could be starting at 4 and 5 for a playoff team. That could be us out there.
It could be you and Tanner.
With Mark bringing it up the floor.
Mark would be a pretty good point guard. He's a lefty.
Many years and pounds ago, I could do it.
He's a
Not
lefty
anymore.
too. He got the little, lefty going for him too. So, but yes, please subscribe to DLL Sports. Again, over 16,700 strong here in the DLL Sports community. We really
If this
appreciate
show
all
didn't
of you.
persuade you to sub, then I don't know what will.
Maybe the Cowboy show, maybe the Ranger show, maybe the.
What kind of
the
crowd
Star
did we
show.
have tonight? I don't see the number.
We were over 500 for a while, Mark.
Yeah, for sure.
Still over 400 right now. We're cooking late night.
Mm-hmm.
Deep night DLLS.
We have a show tomorrow at noon here on DLLS Mavs.
Whose idea was that, Bobby?
Yours. That will be our final show until next Tuesday. So make sure you join us tomorrow at 12 p.m. We will give ourselves a break after tomorrow for the All-Star break, and then we will be back on Tuesday.
Is Tanner really going to Cabo like it says in the chat?
I'm going to San Francisco.
There's
But
a
not for the All-Star game. It just worked
Why
out that
not?
way.
There's-
I just booked this trip and then figured out later, like, oh wait, this is the same weekend.
Don't be
I might
modest.
go to some. I might go to go by the arena and stuff and like.
Don't
see
be
what's
modest,
going
dude.
on.
Mark,
You waved to Kyrie at the
I
arena.
mean, I don't have tickets or anything.
right in the middle of a long train of private jets at a private hangar near Love Field, where all of the Miami Heat and Dallas Mavericks players will soon board to fly over the Tostino's Pizza Rolls Gulf of America, powered by Home Depot. There is a PJ in there that's meant for Tanner. Tanner will be on the beach within 5 hours.
Yep. And some breweries for sure.
I'm sorry. Juju Watkins went off for 35 points, 5 blocks, and 5 assists in a game. The first player to do that in the last 20 years across all of Division I.
Kevin Gray watches sports 25 hours a day.
Dude is locked.
Because,
in.
there's not enough NBA stuff going on. So,
locked in.
I mean, he's got to watch everything else.
Juju is a baller. Like, I cannot wait till Juju gets to the WNBA because she's spectacular. She's doing spectacular stuff at USC.
Should we let Tanner go? Should we end the show and
yeah,
let
we're
him go?
about
I don't know.
to.
I was thinking about just reliving the whole season game by game. You want to do that?
No. It's time to go.
Starting with opening.
'Cause-
Remember whenever Klay took the
I have
dribble
the power just
to
hit
set
the
himself
in-
against the
in
Spurs
screen
and knocked
button
it
right
down?
now.
That was great.
No, Ben, we are not doing a show on Monday. We are going to do a show on. That's what I was originally going to before I got caught up in what Juju was doing. But yeah, we're gonna have a show on not on Monday.
We're having a show tomorrow. That's all that matters.
Noon on Tuesday. But yes, we'll have our show tomorrow at noon, and then we will be off until Tuesday at noon as well. So make sure you enjoy the All-Star break weekend as well. We will do the same, but we'll have one more show to get you caught up on everything before the official beginning of the All-Star break. All good?
All good.
Yes.
Thank you so much for joining us here on the DLLS MAVS postgame show. Thank you to Tanner for making us look good and sound good as always. And enjoy your vacation, sir. Hope you enjoy having a good time.
Thank you.
Out
Yeah.
in
Thanks
the,
a lot, Tanner.
That sounded sarcastic.
in the Golden State. And
I don't think I need to go to bed. I don't think I look very good. I got huge bags under my eyes.
all right.
It's been a long year.
Shout out to you, JD Allen. We could use Brittany Griner at the 5 at this rate for the Mavericks in terms of the center spot. Again, thanks to Tanner. Thank you to our Mavericks beat writer, Tim Kidder, for joining us live in studio as well. That is our national NBA insider, Marc Stein. You can always dial up the Stein line at the Stein line for the latest when it comes to your Mavericks and across all the association. You catch him every now and then all NBA podcasts with Adam Mares as well. That's our Mavericks analyst, Bobby Kel'el. I'm your host, Kevin Gray. We are DLLS Mavs. We'll talk to you tomorrow at noon right here on DLLS Sports. Y'all be good. We'll talk to you later. Peace.
We all silly like the mayor.